Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Grim, and this is my bookshelf review of Dead End Tunnel by Nick Roberts. I recently just got done reading this just a few days ago, and I've kind of had to sit on it a little bit. And it's not that it's bad or anything, it's just I just didn't know how to put my feelings about it into words until just now. And I've kind of like sat down and typed it out. So I'm looking at like not a script, but I'm looking at like my opinions put out on it and like a guideline. Anybody who knows me, especially if you've watched some of the videos, I've said time and time again, I am a Nick Roberts fanboy, and I feel he can do no wrong. But this is something that he put out like, I think 2 years ago, and I hadn't read, and I mean I'm gonna put it out here. I love it. The book is only 194 pages, and it came out May 15th of 2024. I had known about this book, but I watched a video that Nick Roberts had put out on socials, and it's a video that Felix Blackwell made. And if you don't know who Felix Blackwell is, he is the author of Stolen Tongues, Church Beneath the Roots, and Sorrow Stones. I have a video on the Sorrow Stones on the channel. The audio quality is bad, but my opinion on it still stands. And Church Beneath the Roots and Stolen Tongues. I think I've done all three. I think. Hold. I have in fact done all three. And Nick Roberts, I also have done Lila in the Flesh and The Exorcist House. I have read the other two Exorcist House books by Nick Roberts. I just haven't done a review on them. I also have read Mean Spirited by him, just have not done the review as well. I'm rambling. Felix Blackwell had put out this video, and he was pretty much doing a review of these books while he was hiking. The video is no longer up, and I wish it was so I could show you. But he had talked about how Dead End Tunnel had inspired the Sorrow Stones. And I was like, all right, so one of my favorite authors is claiming one of my other favorite authors is the inspiration to do one of my favorite horror books. And so I had to read it, and so here's going to be my opinions on it. Let's get into it. Maverick Hall has spent years trying to forget the chilling events of his 13th birthday in the summer of 1999. That fateful night, he and his best friends ventured through a seemingly innocuous tunnel on their bikes, a journey from which not all of them returned. Now, as an adult, Maverick is haunted by the sinister force that compels him to return to his old neighborhood, a place shadowed by secrets, deceit, and unsettling sense of death. Drawn back against his better judgment, he must face the dark forces that has lurked in there waiting, eager for his return. As Maverick confronts the shadows of his past, he finds himself entangled in a web of mystery that threatens not only his sanity, but his very survival. In this harrowing tale of memory, fear, and the power of the unseen delves deep in the heart of a nightmare that refuses to be forgotten, beckoning Maverick to resolve the terrifying mystery that has haunted him for decades. So, at its core, this book is a coming of age story. And it jumps perspectives between Maverick turning 13 on that day in 1999 to present day. If Nick Roberts, the author, is the same age as Maverick in the book, then he is only 10 years older than me. But which does seem like a long time, but there's not enough time for it to be super different. So it almost felt catered to me personally, like how I grew up and the friends I had growing up. There's three friends that this whole thing really revolves around, and it's like the three standard tropes of kids that I think pretty much everyone probably had growing up. There was a friend that was well off, but he has like a weird relationship one of his parents due to like them being at work all the time, and that's why they have money, and it's kind of a whatever. One of the friends also seems to be like the true blue middle class average of just like the standard copy and paste middle class American dream. And the third one is the poor kid who doesn't have it as nice with the abusive parent or parents. I'm sure everyone who's grown up ever has had the same kind of circle of friends. The book, like it said, it is there are some nightmarish things that happen to these kids, and it comes back and haunts him later in life. And it's this weird combination of like it's a mystery that meets poltergeist, and it's like Lovecraftian, and it's all put together and put in this really smooth blend. And it sounds so weird, but it is so fucking good. The book's main theme, I think there's two things that can be kind of touched on. I'll touch on one and then like my later opinion, but one of them now is this book is about loss. And it is so much loss and trauma that it shows to an extreme of how it affects Maverick later in life and what he's willing to do to handle it later, which I think is a phenomenal like telling. If it's intentional or not, maybe it's not that deep, dog, but I'm picking. But to me, that's what resonated with me is like early trauma developing later in life and how it kind of unfolds itself later. So in my closing opinions, this is kind of, I feel like where a lot of the density of this book is loaded for me. It is so angry. This book is such an angry book, and it is a vengeance quest of older Maverick coming back and dealing with his problems. Whereas, like, the book obviously has the two perspectives of young Maverick and old Maverick. Young Maverick, it shows like the gravity of what is happening to him, and that's kind of like the horror parts of it is like what is happening on that day. Older Maverick is showing the horrors of being an adult and dealing with it later. And it is him coming back as an older man and just, seeking vengeance on this thing or these things that has happened to him. Another weird thing that is mentioned, not weird, but is something that's fun for me, is a Mongoose. Like the bike company for bicycles for boys. I don't know. Like, I had a uniquely male experience because I didn't have sisters, and girls were icky until I was about 13. So, I don't know if they had the same type of thing, but Mongoose was exclusively mentioned, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. I had Mongoose bikes growing up too. It's awesome. This book, it does not fuck around at all. It is just like it pulls no punches and is like, this is what's happening. It doesn't leave any like what if or what didn't, we don't know. No, you know what happened. There's one scene in particular, and if you don't want it spoiled, you can skip ahead. I'll try to put a timestamp here to skip ahead to, just so you can miss the spoiler. But anybody who has read it, you'll see. The scene where Blake's dad, when he's possessed by the thing, literally shoots his son in the fucking head in the front yard of Maverick's house. It's like, like, what the fuck? Like, pulled no punches. It floored me, honestly. It's like, what the fuck, dude? And what do you do? I think book, what it does a really good job of doing is it's showing you what happens when kids are forced to grow up earlier than they should. The horrors aside, it shows a really good job of like Maverick had his whole childhood taken from him, essentially, like his whole thing, and it has wreaked havoc in his entire adult life to the point like this isn't necessarily a spoiler, but later in life when he comes to confront these things, he's pretty much resigned himself to death, and he's like, "Fuck it, I don't care anymore." It's driven him to the point of like, I don't care if I die because of this thing that happened to me a long time ago, and it is still he's still dealing with it. And I think that resonates. It's like, I mean, I'm not trying to say like, oh my god, I feel bad or whatever. But I also, as many of the people who will watch this are kids who were forced to grow up too early, and it definitely like thinking about it later, it like almost made me sad and like teary. And I think this book ultimately is a must read for people who have a somewhat traumatic childhood. And I know that sounds really morbid, not saying that like people who didn't like who had a good growing up and shouldn't read it. You absolutely should. The book's awesome. But I think this will hit a certain note with people who had maybe a rougher upbringing. I don't think I'm doing a numerical rating system anymore. I think it has turned in I think it's turned into like too arbitrary of a thing. I was listening to a podcast somewhat recently. Shocker, 30-year-old white man listens to a podcast. But I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about Letterboxd reviews, which is like for movies, and how they feel like giving a number and a rating of stars feels like too arbitrary of a thing, and it feels like it's putting too much, it's too much. It's too weird. They just don't like it. I'm like, you know what? I get it. I don't necessarily like doing that because I could really like something a lot and I can't recommend it enough, but I'm like, it's maybe a 3.5 out of 5. And then people are like, it's not a 5. I don't want to read it. It's like, but you should. It's just like, so I don't think I'm going to do a numerical rating anymore because, I mean, if I went to pick this book apart into pieces as like a critic, which I'm not a fucking critic, dude. I am an enjoyer of stories. I could give it a certain rating and, might turn some people off of it. They might just fast forward, like, what do they give it? Nah, whatever, I don't care. It's not true. I think this is a better way to do it. I recommend this book to everybody. If I could give it a gold star, I would. And I think it hits what it's supposed to, especially in the short time that it has. It is 194 pages, all gas, no breaks, which he's really good at doing, by the way. Nick Roberts just like really punches it in and just like, there's no filler, It's just like, here's the story and why things in the story are relevant to what's happening, which I'm going on a tangent, but I don't care. I so appreciate that. And I'm not saying books that don't do that are bad or by any metric, but I am reading a book right now I swear to God, it spent 2.5 pages telling me how green the grass was. Like, awesome. I love that. But that doesn't need to be there. It's just one of those things. Like, I don't need to know how green this grass was. But like I said, I can't recommend this book enough to people, especially if you've had kind of a weird upbringing. I know I'm not trying to like alienate or isolate anybody who wants to read this book, because you absolutely should. The book's phenomenal. Gold star, but I think if you had it, I specifically do recommend it to you. And I think that's going to be my rating for it, I guess. Rating. Or my review of it. I think that is about as in-depth as I want to be with it. And it does feel weird not giving it a number, but it feels healthier not to give it a number. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you for helping me like get involved and evolve on how I like doing this format. I think this is a better thing. This video is kind of long and lengthy compared to my last one, which I did on the suffering, which is also a super great read. You should go watch that video or go read that book. That book was phenomenal. But this is, I think, almost tripling, not triple, but doubling the length at least. So again, I'm rambling. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And if you want to, if you want to see me, I'm on Instagram as aradgrim. You can come hang out. I post weird stuff on there. And if you liked the video, go ahead and drop a subscribe. If not, I don't blame you. If you don't want to subscribe to me, I don't blame you at all. But all right, guys. Everybody take care of each other. Love yourselves. And I love you. See you.